Hey everybody, Dr. Z here. Today we're talking about building relationships, specifically when you're having to work with students who are quite a bit younger than you. I find a lot of times that people stumble along those blocks and it's like they forget that they're still working with humans, even if those humans are quite a bit younger than they are. So I'm going to give you a couple tactics and ways of thinking that'll help you build those relationships more quickly and more effectively. It's really an input, throughput, output type deal. A relationship is a system. So in order to get the right type of output, that relationship you're going for, really what you're talking about is trust. You want to have trust in that relationship. You need two key inputs. One is emotions, one is vulnerability, one is empathy. Emotions, vulnerability, and empathy. And in order to get those things correct, you have to learn about the other person and you have to be willing to share some things about yourself. So one of the things I always used to do with the college students I taught, in the first week, I'd create a simple survey to learn a lot about their interests, their likes, their dislikes, their job experiences or lack thereof. Things that they're into, music, movies, theater, whatever it is that they spend their time doing outside of the classroom, I wanted to learn those things. And it was for a strategic reason. Because then when I'm trying to share my expertise or subject matter content, I can connect it to specific things that I learned in that classroom from those students, especially if there's a pattern that cuts across many students, and there often is. A popular movie that they're mostly familiar with or a new song that's out. What you're trying to do is find the right type of examples and using metaphors, analogies, similes, so that you can explain things in a way that they understand it and that's meaningful to them. Where I find teachers go wrong when they're trying to build relationships with students is they put everything from their perspective. Well, when I was a student, here was how things were. Or the type of pop culture examples they're using just don't resonate with the students. So if the output, the end goal of that system is to have a trusting relationship where they value the mentorship and knowledge that you're providing, you need to be open and honest with them and treat them as a human and want to learn about them. So a really nice metaphor I like to use when talking about building relationships extends that word build, and it's construction and architecture. The architecture for building a relationship is your plan. That's your strategy, the design that you're putting into it, that forethought before you can begin to lay down the foundation and the blocks that will actually begin to build that house or structure of a relationship. And so I'd encourage you to put some time into figuring out how you can, one, learn more about the students that you'll be working with in a quick manner. A tool I like is SurveyMonkey. If you don't have an account, you can create a free one and use up to 10 question surveys for free. So that's a really nice way to learn about somebody. Two, you need to figure out how you can quickly share things about yourself. So a tool that I've used is How to Work with Dr. Z, and that's where I'll share all the things that make me me. All my warts and difficulties and pet peeves and idiosyncrasies and the things that they can expect from me and where I'll be consistent at and how I like to work. So creating a nice one-page memo about how to work well with you and making it fun and playful as well as serious and about your expertise is a really nice tool to, again, begin building those foundation blocks for that relationship to flourish. Because in the end, all you're going for is trust. And when trust is there, they can just believe what you're saying. So if they can't believe what you're saying and you're there to either teach them or mentor them, to me, that suggests you haven't put in the time to establish that relationship architecture and blueprint or to put in the foundational building blocks. Why I say emotions and empathy is because you probably have some emotions. You're wanting to put your best foot forward, to make an impact, to share that knowledge of your industry skills, your experience, the scars you have, the mistakes you've made. But all of that information, which you probably find to be most important, is going to go one in ear and out the other if you don't put in some time up front to build that relationship. So when I say emotions, it's about getting your emotions under control, being honest about what makes you nervous or anxious working with these students, and also connecting with them and figuring out, what makes you nervous or anxious being in this entrepreneurial incubator. And having some vulnerability around those discussions is really important. Second is empathy. That's just putting yourself in that other person's shoes. you might not remember what it's like to be, 15, 16, 17, 18, but you can ask questions that allow them to explain and explore how they're thinking, how they're feeling in the moment. It's not good to put yourself back. When I did it, here's what I would have done. You need to say, here's how you might be able to do it based on where you're at in this market, with this economy, in this situation, your team's skills, etc. So emotions and empathy are very important. And what you're really going for there is vulnerability, some honesty, some authenticity, so that they view you not just as the teacher or the mentor, but as someone they can trust and go to with real questions and problems that might extend beyond the project. And as soon as you start hearing those things, you know you've made a really firm connection with those students. Happy building.